received this strange request on my Onlyfans, right, the other day. So, this DM came from a client. He said, this is like what he typed. 2K urgent. Please respond. I was surprised. So I clicked on the profile, right? Just the username. I didn't recognize at all. No pictures, no detail. And I couldn't remember if I interacted with them before. So, I don't usually respond to random DMs like that. And I was busy getting ready for my live stream. But that money though, it got my attention. It's another troll telling me I'm a useless whore, right? Could be, but what's the request, I asked? Custom vid? The reply basically came immediately. I guess it was urgent. No, I want you to draw me something. So I was surprised, stared at the message for a second. I said, you're joking, right? Nah, I'm serious. Draw me a picture, 2K, no joke. I laughed. I have been a sex worker for 5 years. Honestly, I haven't gotten this kind of request ever. And then you think you heard it all. I got a notification. My scheduled stream was about to start. I glanced down at my outfit. I was doing a pirate themed stream today. Please don't ask, it works, alright? So I was dressed like Naomi from One Piece, in a very, shall we say, revealing bikini top, and those shorts, and the pirate hat. So the subscriber didn't specify the pirate, but I am a redhead right now, and I have pretty big tits, so who figures I could kill 2 birds with 1 stone and get some anime fans to tip me and pay me to cosplay again. But believe it or not, I've been requested sexy Gaara from Naruto. Anyway, but I'm not gonna lie, this guy intrigued me, if nothing else, other than for my own entertainment. I don't really draw, I said. I'm not an artist. You don't need to be, I just want you to draw it. Okay, I'll bite, but what am I drawing? This, he said. He sent an image attachment. Another dick pic, I thought, right? What else? And then, not opening that, as if on cue, like $50 was deposited into my account with another message. Please open it. I said. Fine, kinda be careful what I say on YouTube, but those D ratings, you can fill in the blank, cost $20, so I was already ahead of the curve, right? And if it was something worse, well, let's just say I have been sent the darkest parts of the internet. So what the hell, I opened it, and what I saw was very strange. Stranger than I have even expected. It was a scan of an image. Kinda see if I can describe it. It looked like it was taken from a very old library book that got beat the hell or something. The page itself was yellow and cracked, and on it a symbol drawn on splattered black paint on a wall, a row of interlocking circles with a crude sketch of an eye 6 times along its circumference, contained with triangles, and there were words circling around the edges of the image, but it was in a language I did not recognize, like the letters were from some alphabet I haven't heard of at all. And basically I had never seen anything like it, so I was like, what is this? He didn't answer. I waited, stared at the image, and then my eyes glanced up the message chain at the promised $2,000, probably 8 streaming sessions worth of work. And if this is the king, well, who am I to judge? You just want me to draw this? Like on MS Paint or something? He said, no, on your floor. Chalk works best. This is a joke, right? No. And then another $50 deposited into my account. This guy was a trip though, but he clearly wasn't kidding. He was depositing money. So I was like, I don't have any chalk or anything, but I can run to the stores though. No, he said, I need it now. It never fails. When the mood strikes, the mood strikes. They gotta get it off right away. I rummaged through the desk next to my cam setup, pushed aside random shit like makeup and, papers, my toys, I found a pencil. I looked at the hardwood floor in my apartment. No way that was gonna work. Then I remembered. And I found my old purse on the floor in my closet, and inside it, what do you think? A thick black Sharpie. I tested it on the floor. Bingo, I said. Then I messaged him back. Does a marker work for you too? Again, he replied immediately. I was like, what is up with this dude? As long as I can see it, and please draw it big. Calm down, my guy. Horniness does strange things to a man. It would take me more than a minute. Okay, I draw now. I pulled up the pic he sent me on the phone, and ignoring my other pending messages and the chime from my scheduled live stream and loyal users asking me where I was. But they could wait. They might even like waiting. Besides, I kind of wanted to see where this went. So I kneeled down on the floor next to my bed, pulled aside the carpet, put Sharpie to hardwood, and began to draw. Well, it actually showed up very well, I think. Listen, I am no Picasso, but I was pretty good in high school. I even did an art show with one of my teachers. It was a portrait of my mom. I made sure to take it before her third glass of rosé. Well, besides, I think Dad still has it somewhere, if he even opened anything he had after she died. Really, my point, I'm not so bad. I surveyed my handiwork. It was a bit shaky. Circles, they aren't very easy to draw, but it was pretty accurate. I might even call it damn good. I'd say he picked the right CamGirl. I turned down the lights and took a photo of it with my flash, sent it back to I cannot say his name, Who's this? Are you there? So what do you think? No reply. That's strange. Still nothing. Oh well, at least I made 100, and I got a fun story out of it. Then my phone buzzed. $2,000. Yes, you did so well. I love you. Jesus Christ, I said. I spent maybe 2 minutes drawing these ridiculous circles, and I made more money than I did the last month of camming. Also, as a side note, don't judge me, alright? I have a few loyal clients, but I'm not some, top percentage or anything. I'm hot, I'll admit it, but I'm not trying to be queen of Onlyfans. As shocked and happy as I was with that amount of money for that little work, I remembered to keep my cool and maintain my persona. So I was, I'm glad you like it. Anything else for you? I tried to stifle the vivid thought that the guy was jerking off into a circle I just drew, on the Sharpie on my shitty apartment floor. You're the best. Great. Easiest money of my life. Thinking we were done, I moved to start my live stream. But then he surprised me again. You want to make 5K tonight? I said, what? But I keep my cool. Always keep my cool with guys, like this one. What do you mean 3K more? No, sorry, I mean 5K. Alright, but that live stream though. You know what? Damn it. I'm gonna do it. This guy could pay my bills for life. I'll do anything for you, I said. Alright, obviously I'm not gonna do anything for this rando, but the guy who gets off on drawings probably isn't gonna ask me to cut off my nipples all of a sudden. Yes, I just need you to say something and then videotape it. Can you do it? I'm not gonna lie, the request was another curveball, and his frantic messaging style was a little weird, but I know how hard it is to type with one hand. Not to be crass, also, screw you, don't be a prude. You're still reading this. What do you want me to say, Daddy? Okay, it was a shot in the dark, but a pretty substantial portion of my clients like it, so I gotta try it. And I kinda like it too, you know. He did not reply. Maybe I messed up. Maybe he doesn't like it and he's gone, but I could try it. A bridge too far, I thought. I cursed myself for not playing it safe to get another 5k. I could have gotten 8k tonight. But then, a message. I wrinkled my brow reading it, because it looked like complete nonsense. He said, it didn't make sense of anything. I cannot even say what he said. I tried reading it about 30 times. I still couldn't wrap my head around it. Do you have a stroke? No, he said. Eddie, you are so funny. Just say the words. So, just say these words and video it for me, please. This guy could not be serious, I said for a second, chewed my fingernails. I started thinking about this, really thinking about it. Something felt off. This was weird, right? Possibilities started running through my head. This guy doesn't know who I am, or does he? Does he know me? Is he doxing me? Maybe this guy was playing some kind of a sick joke. I didn't think he had the money for this, but he did give me like 2k. But there's always complaining after the fact. They try to get a refund, you know. And damn, he could be spiteful. So I looked down at myself, what I was wearing, and at the themed lingerie I had gotten for my live stream. And my mother's words rang through me. You can make as much money as you want. It doesn't matter if you don't respect yourself. And my mother's words rang through me. You can make all of that? So I'd never seen anything like this though, and I was buying into the hook, line and sinker. I felt like an idiot, and suddenly I felt tears forming at the corners of my eyes. Thankfully, another message snapped me out of it. Please, I need it, promise. I promise you'll do it. I'm not messing with you. Almost like he heard my thoughts, and even better, with the message, another 500%. This is just for you, alright? I still give you 5k more. So he was really desperate for it. Okay, 8,000 for a single night? Count me in. So I wiped my eyes, resolved myself to put all my big girl pants on, and resumed his little game. Alright, I'll do it. Calm down, big boy. Any tips for pronunciation? What language is it? No reply. Then not a message, but an audio clip. Alright, at this point, with how much he spent, he's earned me to take a listen. I put on my headphones and then opened it. There was just a crackling silence for a few seconds, then a strange guttural voice started, raspy like James Earl Jones, you know? But after 1,000 cigarettes, he spoke the words right into my ears. It was very intimate, like almost sensual. I was not like I imagined him. He was not like that at all. But if it was even him, the recording felt old somehow, very old, like those recordings from people who used phonographs or whatever they're called. I felt chills down my spine. Something about the recording felt very wrong. Instinctively, I panicked. I ripped off my headphones and threw them on the ground without even realizing what was going on. So I sat there for a moment. My breathing was sharp, rapid. My skin was tingling with goosebumps. A chime nearly made me jump. You there? Did you listen? I said, well, I checked myself, but I was getting this worked up over an audio clip from some random guy I haven't talked to before. Well, if this was his kink, no big deal. Sure, it was unique and it made no sense to me at all, but I don't make a habit judging people. I would have a job if I did. So I collected myself and replied, back to your fantasy. So, yes, I got it. And, record now, he said. I took another stab with my message. Who knows? Maybe I could make more of him. So, do you want me to wear anything? He said, wear whatever you want. Just say the words. And make sure you do it in front of the drawing. That's funny, I don't usually get the cold shoulder, especially when I offer something like that. But I shouldn't be surprised. I was just an escalation of the first thing. I already know he wasn't like any of the usual clients. Not so easy to please. In a way, it was very refreshing. Knowing that he didn't just want me for my body. Instead, I'd be making 5K for my art and acting skills. And that kind gave me a little thrill. So I set my phone up on my desk, positioning the camera also faced me, kneeled down around the circle, and he said the words as best as I could. So I said it slowly, still butchering the words, but there was no way this guy was gonna be happy. Hope it wasn't his first language or anything. If it was, he'd probably be offended. I stopped the video, preparing to try again. Then a chime from my laptop. I glanced at the message. Yes, keep saying again. Wait, I wasn't live streaming, and I haven't sent him anything yet. How did he know what I was doing? Did he just trust me that much? My doubt were quelled with another chime announced $5,000 into my account. So I did what anybody would do. I kept saying it over and over again, recording the whole time. And with it, more chimes, more messages tipping me to keep repeating the nonsense phrase. It was all fair game until something started to feel strange. And the guttural, shittering hum like from the audio clip resonated through the air like other voices were speaking to me. As I looked around the space, I no longer saw my apartment. I saw something else, like a hallucination, a desert mirage after a death heat stroke. And I felt that I was no longer me. I was someone else, someone in a faraway place and a time that wasn't now. It wasn't now, seeing things not meant for me. So I sat in a vast, oppressive city that stretched out interminable, row after row of towering industrial structures jutting out at impossible angles. A skyline of crooked spires climbed high above where I could crane my neck to see, and the same sky, an innumerable collection of impossible black umbral stars, and they somehow felt alive. A wave of irrepressible horror shot through me, a sudden icy realization of the existence of things I could not name, could not understand, their names unutterable, except by a language already long dead when the planets were young and the sun was cold. But the mere existence of these beings somehow filled me with a sense of purpose, of appreciation for what could come and, well, what must come. As I sat in that city, where time had no place and God had no reign, whose name I numble now to be Membrix, I felt the sable stars turn their malefic gaze straight towards me. I saw an engulfing green sky teeming with countless shadows beings who knew me and knew my shame and fear and wanted me nonetheless, wanted me more for it, as if they saw me and straight thought they saw through me and right into my soul. But that wandering was now at an end, because I was myself. I was my ancestors. I was an aunt. I was an ant beholding the great works of mankind. My consciousness registered 100,000 of their designs for an unaware, ungrateful universe. And then my phone chimed. I was back in my apartment, sitting in front of my drawing. My chin was coated with drool. Jesus, how long had I been out? And what had I seen? Was this a dream? Almost like reading the words put me in some kind of strange trance. Last thing I could remember was the video. So I looked at my phone. It was almost dead because I had been recording for 2 hours. I stopped it, scanned back through the video. It was just me sitting in place, repeating the phrase for the guy, right? But for 2 hours. I glanced at my computer. You have done well, he he sure got my attention because the notification that came through told me something impossible. Over the past 2 hours, he had sent me 40k. I stared at my computer, awestruck. Did I just make nearly 50k for drawing and mumbling some nonsense? I almost felt bad for the guy, but who knows? I could have been talking to Jeff Bezos incognito. Another message. This one made me stop and made my mouth go dry. You have done what I asked you. You have made this high priest weep with quiet jubilation. The 2 hours that I passed out went through my mind again, sending icy shivers through my whole body. But then I realized something. Tried to keep me cool, but I had to say it. What? I never sent you the video. He didn't reply for a moment, but when he did, I felt myself shudder. But there is still more to be done. You are one of the best and great becoming of this life and the next. What in the hell is this guy talking about? I thought. He comes and suddenly he becomes a completely different person. It was absolutely nuts. And more to be done? What else could he be asking of me? But something about what he said struck something inside me like a dream I couldn't remember. And a taste on the tip of my mouth, a city, someone watching me from above, or something. I had no idea. What are you talking about? I said. You're scaring me. Then there was a long silence. I said, what is going on? Again I tried. Talk to me or I will call the cops. My breathing was racked, harsh. I was sweating. I felt terror gripping me. I was near of having a panic attack, I swear. And then another message. This time it was a video attachment, but trembling hand I clicked on it. There he was. A kindly, seemingly harmless old man, clean shaven, a little heavy-set, wearing what looked like a dark bathrobe. He was in a dark space. I couldn't tell if it was a den or a basement, but the walls almost looked like they were made of granite or stone or something. And I have to say he scared me, because he didn't say a word. He just smiled, a grin that contained a happiness that I was almost jealous of. In that moment, pure endless glee, like a gritty child. He maintained that smile for a long time, not moving a muscle, and I could not look away. And then, finally he spoke. His voice was trembling with excitation. After a lifetime of service, my ride is complete. I leave you now hopeful that the world will soon be as it was dreamt of in their ancient slumber, after countless millennia. Dreams which were merely dreams may beget reality. You must do this for others, my sweet girl, as I have done this for you. You must make them see the light, draw the symbol, invoke his name one by one. One new sight for every moon phase that passes. So he then leaned closer, his eyes suddenly glinting with a chilling malice. Do this, or you may experience tortures beyond your wildest dreams, tortures that will last 1,000 lifetimes, tortures beyond your wildest nightmares. But if you listen, and if you obey, your rewards will be everlasting. Remember, this is only the beginning. He smiled again, and then his smile faded and became something more akin to orgasmic euphoria. He lifted something into frame, a large jagged knife, and never breaking his gaze, he did something shocking. He pulled the blade across his throat, slashed it open as casually as if it was a friendly wave. Blood poured out in streams, spilling out all over him, soaking his robe. He shook with pleasure, a rapture, as the warm flow of death overtook him. The expression was familiar. I'd seen on my clients' faces countless of times. Usually it was followed by the calm down, the acknowledgement of their shame as the orgasm faded and they prepared themselves to face boring, grim reality. But his face had never lost that glow. I couldn't look away, couldn't shut off the video as the man bled out, unblinking until he slumped forward. The video continued for a few silent moments, then it cut out. I was shaking, tears streaked down my face, mascara stinging on my eyes, and my blood was cold as ice. I didn't understand what was happening, but was I responsible for this man's actions? I thought it was just a silly drawing, a funny phrase, a client with a kink that I have never seen before, but in reality, I knew my heart had been down the most horrifying path I could ever imagine. And his final words, they were a threat, a promise. If I didn't do as he said, they would come for me. I'd know who, and I don't know why, but I needed to spread the word, their gospel, once every moon, a new acolyte. So, anyway, all of that was a year ago. Since then, I picked one follower a month, usually the most disrespectful or demanding, but sometimes just the most gullible, and I make them take part in that same ritual I did. I have tried to avoid passing it on, sharing this strange curse, but when the moon reaches its fullest and the cycle draws at a close, if I haven't found my victim yet, I begin to see things, hear things. I had tried once, but just to see if his threat was true, and it was. It starts at the end of the first week, somewhere deep in the shadows, little movements on the edges of them, like blurring the lines between our world and theirs, little tricks on the brain. By the second week, I begin to hear voices in the night, urgent whispers. But as the third week comes to pass, they grow angrier, more threatening. By the fourth week, the shadows have eyes, and they watch me from the darkest corners, willing to do their bidding. Soon they grow mouths, desperate, hungry mouths that lick their lips, and they wait for me to fulfill my bargain. They creep closer and closer to my bed. I sleep, eager to take their opportunity. If I don't, I can feel them. 1 month, I waited until the night of the full moon. Just as it was about to wane, I walked to the window, pulled aside my curtains, lifted the shades. The sky was green. The stars were black, and they were smiling at me, their mouths full of jagged teeth. They promised me the endless torment he warned me for. I had to be in my head. I closed the curtains, went inside, and messaged your loyal follower. Within the hour, I had passed it on, and just like that, everything went back to normal. No more creeping shadows, no more whispers. When I opened my curtains, the moon gleamed back at me, and the stars kept their silent vigil as they always had. So I never made that mistake again. In fact, I never even waited to pass the first week. Why am I telling you this? Other than for you to think of me as some insane girl who lost her mind. The stress of seeing the client do some horrible things, so traumatic, because if you have been reading this far, I can tell that you care. And I can tell that you probably understand that I live in constant fear, in constant terror from the madness and horror I desperately try to save you from. I barely eat, I barely sleep, but the guilt is the worst part, knowing that I am passing on the same thing I made bargain for. So I want to give you a warning and ask you please to listen. If you get a profile like mine reaching out to you, asking you to do some strange thing, offering you something you very much want, think twice. Thank you very much for listening. This was a story from one of the people on the internet. Could be real, could be a phantom of their imagination. Leave a comment and please consider subscribing. You're very much appreciated.